friends, hello. I was back here at the bike forge outside. It's already pretty busy. The season is slowly starting. We're also in the preparations. Today we have to go on another tour. We're excited because Mario called us and he has to clear out his parents' property before the big cleanup crew gets there. We get to go through the building and the barns to see if there's anything we might need for the museum. Honestly, there's some old stuff there too. For us, it's always exciting when you don't know what to expect. 2001, let's go. Old stove plates. Yeah, oh, with you, those are... Fancy. All collected works. It was all still nice. Too much. You won't expect much now. On the wall is the beginning. Last week on this we have to go through all of this too. There's some nice older stuff here. It's nice here too. Look here. I want to again. Look here, what's missing today? An old kitchen marking machine. Because it's already lying on the table. It seems to have had it too. I think it also mentioned there will definitely be some batteries. Let's take a look around first. There's still enough in there I can't again. $1,000. That was nice. Back there is nice. You had Little Horse. Old cellars from earlier. It's also a self-made. They just put the wheels from the motorcycle in and made a cart themselves. 1,000. That's really crazy. Yeah, after a huge estate. It's not, yeah, a whole lifetime collected. Definitely. Yeah, but it's a really nice vintage, an extremely old 2001 pulley. We'll take the old box because there's something to laugh about. I don't know either, do I? Come on, let's do a rough overview and then head upstairs. Oh my god, I feared that. And here is the machine. Yeah, it's also a machine. Baskets, leather. Everything from the Little Horse is hanging here. Here's another square. The sunwear is already a bit... It has become a shopping hall for the customers, so yeah. Butcher. They are also nice. Delivery bikes. The first time around, just... Here's also a nice little stove. We'll take that too. That was a field oven. The wardrobe is also nice. Is that a real Picasso or what? Right. There's still something in there. Do you know what's a barrier is? It was in court. Man, those these are also nice companies. and then we'll see with my next microphone. You are what I enjoyed about continuing inside. Now we really have to go through the cross star structure from the other side. I didn't expect that. And over here, what is that little hatch? This provides smooth slopes and the pistes. Here, it's so absolutely beautiful. Really shot out here. So the tour continues. Yes, let's definitely take that too. The blocks with the bindings attached as well. Also, until when did they live in here? Zebra, it now lives. With Corona for care. Yes, and all the bills are in there. They all still need to be gone through. Insane. You don't need another rat around with you. Get up. So, kitchen. Nothing here that interests us. We'll take this with us too. When the call comes, it has to go out. You stupid again? Really dumb. I think this glass container is also from earlier times. That was just such a stool. I want some peace now. Those are still cabinets tuning bar long. Baking cookies? Making wine? This feels like a flea market team here. Oh, now that's a gulp. Really? Yeah, I also don't think I'll be able to keep watching afterwards. Something like a comfortable and cozy bed. That looks like it is placed in a beautiful and serene courtyard outside. Yes, it's expensive. I can't bring the brown one. 2001. Oh, I see. It's nice. Yes, a beautiful samurai. That's something fine. So Jaeger was also there. Samlo Hunter. Yes, it's also nice here for the door. Yes, when it opens and closes. Oh, here's also such a beautiful old winch. It's absolutely amazing. Are those from Pfaff? Ancient Winds. This one is definitely from the 1890s and is called Pepper Dust. It's beautiful. Yes. A nice old planting tool here. Look how beautifully they used to finish a planting stick. Pieces of dirt aid. A small metal tip on it and nicely pegged at the top. Simply wonderful. Yes, indeed. In tree. The last address. It's a pity. All the spirit of our ancestors. But you can't save everything. Yes, So I'll take another look around here and then. You need swords. What kind of swords am I seeing right now? We'll take them over tomorrow. There are still a few video sheets back there, it seems. There's something else lying there. Let's take another look. Oh, then I'll just stay here for a bit. Still a little pregnant from the goat harness, it seems. And here we have the goat harness to go with it. Here we have a beautiful ancient kettle with really big rivets. Look at how it's riveted all around. This will be the new duck pond at our museum. The bark water goes in, and then the little hands can build nicely in it. 2001. Look at that, what a huge rivet in there. Must have been some kind of pressure container. Really old. This thing is older than me. Yes, older than both of us combined. It's definitely at least 1 centimeter. That's not enough. 1.5 cm turn here. 64 was already there before. Your whole childhood was already here. Amazing. So Mario built a cool transport container.
Look at the horn here. It's all really solid brass. And the horn attachment is also really low.
So we are almost done. Mario is still tidying up a bit up there in the attic. He found an old Mifar bicycle and a few other small things. Then we'll cover it with a net and head home for now. Then we'll take a closer look at the items. Well, now we have arrived home. And look at this beautiful old aluminum fender from the bicycle. Yes, what a splendor it was back then to have such an aluminum fender on a bicycle. The rulers also still remember many from their childhood. They used to always stand on top of the buffet, polished to a high gloss. Yes, here we have a few particularly beautiful specimens. The beautifully decorated sides of the old Singer sewing machine. Let's also make something nice out of it. Here we have a bit more from the military area. Old ammunition box. Old telephone apparatus. Helmet of the NVA. Here is even a little reminder of the service time with a dog tag. Also funny. An old stamp card. Yes, that's how it was back then. Many remember authorization certificate. On the other hand, if we had traffic violations, a stamp was entered, and with 5 stamps, the preliminary permission was revoked. So not with points like it is today. Back then, you always had a slip with you. And when the 4th stamp was given, things started to get tight. Yes, and in such old fortresses you can still find such things. Yes, really nice. Original condition. Yes, also very nice, this ancient winch here. Estimate were built between 1880 and 1900. It says FAF on it, and look how beautifully it still stands out. When you turn it here, just like 100 years ago. Very slowly she lifts herself out and just does her job. They also have such an ancient plate. Give us this day, our daily bread. It's written in very ornate script. So you see, a very beautiful idyllic scene on the plate. If you look from behind, you can see how many thousands of jumps it has already made. So we have to place it very carefully in our display case. Yes, the dishes from my childhood. I always call it cheerful dishes. That's how it was served in the past. Now, if we take this boot jack, you can see how much effort was put into it back then. So, the stand was mortised here, and the whole thing is made of hardwood. It has probably been lying around the yard for 3 or 4 years now, and yet nothing has happened to it at all. Yes, that's indeed another relic from the old days. It was fashionable during those times to commemorate all the destinations you had visited or the journeys you had taken by marking them on your walking stick. So in souvenir shops back then, there were these small stamps, and you could immediately attach them to this walking stick with small nails. Yes, and Mario's father seems to have been doing quite well. Yes, I found a few more nice things in the cabinet. An old Wilhelm Busch book, and how it looks. Yes, one can imagine how often it was read to the children. Yes, the pranks of Max and Moritz. Unforgettable. Beautiful old children's books. We all know that one. The journey to Sunduit was definitely still fresh on the front page. It was truly memorable. Many of you surely still know it. Yes. It was even made into a film, and yes, of course, there was also a book about it. Children's book. Usend. Here is a nice old certificate from a breeding show. Yes. Here are the stars of the East. Yes, and here is something really nice. A repair manual for the Wartburg 353. That is, of course, something very nice as well. It's all written in there. Maintenance 2001, repair of the Wartburg. Yes, and those were the gloves from the East. Here is another completely new pair. I estimate about years. Yes, they weren't meant for fine mechanics. But they were definitely warm. A beautiful old horse head. The old water barrel. That will also get a nice spot somewhere under the eaves. That is the parlor radio. Good old gem indeed, a true classic. Yes, it will also get a nice place in the museum. Here we have another small cabinet. And I indeed actually even still hit the stripes here. Just so it mostly stood here. On top of the buffet. The beautiful clockwork. Rods that vibrate like that. That's the chime mechanism. 3 different rods. 3 different gongs. You can see that they are a bit longer, and as a result, the gong is a bit brighter or a bit deeper. Technology that excites. Or the little weight. Zap. So, a small hand bellows. Teacher, you just have to look at this old one. What quality it had. So, the handles up here are really nicely shaped and fit well in the hand. The sheet metal is probably a few millimeters thick, and otherwise the cart is also very solidly built. I think you can see that. Here they added reinforcement underneath to prevent it from wearing out from constant use. Yes, just made with sense and understanding. Even in the GDR, German Democratic Republic, there were already hole saws. The good old wooden clogs, really roughly cut. And here's another one that was brought along. After a few years of use, you could see how the wood had worn down, but you could always carve it a bit more. Sustainable. The good old talc of it. I didn't even know about this one. I had never seen it before. Also very old. DIY dowel knife. You could only get that under the counter. Yes, they had goats. And this is a tool for the goats, so you always knew where they were. Little bells. Look at that. And such a high quality coat hook was made back then. Down here, you could hang your jacket or coat. And up here for your hat. I'm sure everyone still remembers this. This was a gear knob back in the day. They took the original one out of the car and screwed on this fancy one, made of imitation amber. Here's a nice old bell. This is an old transport box, where you would put the birds when you exhibited or bought them. Meanwhile, They were placed in a nice homemade cage like this. Another nice old radio. Around Saxonberg and Niedersedlitz. Cutlery, coffee grinder, old wooden burner, and grandma's handbag, tool bag, bicycle, Simpson mirror, old air pump. Something nice with the dwarf lamp in a spherical shape. Oh, look at this. A nice little beautiful supply saddle. Still new. Look at how thick the leather used to be for such a saddle. The birdhouse also gets a spot here on the tree. This little field stove. You could place it wherever you wanted. Had a small fireplace. You put the wood in. And you could place pots on top to warm something up. I can still see it in almost new condition. What's inside? Care. That's also something nice. An old door handle. Back in the day, at our baker's, it was installed right above the door. And every time you came in, the swing would move and ring the bells. And the baker lady in the back of the bakery knew that someone was in the front of the shop. Very simple, without electricity. Always functional. And then we still remember the typical East German ice cream sundae, filled to the top with whipped cream and fruits. And I remember it very well. Yes, and here is something cool. The furniture makers in the East took inspiration from the past, so they already had that in wood back then, and now it has been slightly modified. Nice stool. It could be set up in no time, making it a functional piece of furniture in the place. And if you don't even want to take down the stems, you don't need to go down to the basement to find the dusty ladder in the corner. Just flip the wall around. 2001's a sleek metal ladder, simply wonderful for tea drinkers. Sama. Yes, let's try the radio now to see if it still works. So here we have an embroidery thorn. So I bet that thing still works. At least it still makes some noise. Noise is something. Works. Amazing. It wasn't paper dust again. Why, yes, one must say the radios were built very high quality back in the day. That was years ago. And you can already see that the radio works without an antenna. Nothing is plugged in yet. And yet, we have such misery here. Which does you good, but the device might be luxury. This is the shelf for the radio, made in Stassfurt. Yes, very beautiful too. Grandma used to sit under it back then. Yes, and I got warm airflow, so the curls dried quickly. I'll sit under it tonight as well. And lastly, the wind-up cars. I still remember them from my childhood. Here, you insert the key on one side, wind it up, and off it goes. Yes, there are some very stylish models, with crew members. And then you stand here in front of all these things. Yes, and it is also somewhat emotionally tinged because, of course, many generations have contributed to gathering these items here, and we would like to take this opportunity to thank Mario as well, first of all, for the trust that allowed us to enter the premises and the building, and we can certainly assure him and his father that all the items will have a nice place in our museum and will definitely be preserved for future generations.